And this particular guy, I'm becoming a fan of each and every day. And after watching the introductory press conference, it just continues to grow even more of my respect and admiration as a football fan. Charles Huff from Marshall, now new place, Southern Miss. That introductory press conference, that's the kind of confidence that coaches should have when they go to a new program. This is a man, for those of you who don't know, this is a man, he worked under Nick Saban before coming to Marshall. He worked under Nick Saban. All right. It was a short time, but he learned a lot from the great one. We saw what he did with Marshall, especially in his fourth and final season, his best season with Marshall, and now he's carried that momentum to Southern Miss. And there was just a couple of things that stood out to me about that speech, Avery. And I'm gonna read a few of them here. And I quote, "It's time to go back to the top." He laid down the four steps. First step, the process, trust the process, core values, have a positive attitude. The second step, work ethic. The third one, compete in everything that they must do, whether it's in class, in the field. Also, are you doing enough to help the community? And the fourth step, what's going to separate this team from others? So I liked all of that. And I like the guarantee, the way he spoke in guarantee fashion when he said, and we will win. So I loved it. I love the press conference. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's some excitement that Charles Huff is going to bring to Southern Mississippi. But the interesting part is, and we kind of alluded to it last week, when you have coaches that leave a program, sometimes that may cause an exodus. We've seen it. When Deion Sanders left Jackson State, he built up that program. You had players follow him. But even though he leaving Jackson State, it still elevated the program. However, in this case, with Charles Huff leaving Marshall, it did cause a bit of a stir because you had a lot of players entering the transfer portal for it, which has now caused Marshall to opt out of their bowl game against Army. But Charles Huff going to Southern Mississippi in this program and those core values that he's going to bring. I think not only are you going to have the fan base, if they're not already excited, will be, and we've seen that a good time. Second, when you're under a coaching tree, and we've kind of seen that when it comes to college football, you know, the Bill Parcells, coaching tree or the Bill Belichick coaching tree now with Nick Saban and I'll use the term disciples, Charles Huff, Lane Kiffin, I can't think of a bunch offhand, Auburn's coach. They're all on the tip of my tongue. But when you have that foundation, when you have the work ethic that they are going to bring, you are going to have players also be excited, even if it's just a mediocre of excitement or like, okay, let's see how this goes. And then once practices start, and usually, and we saw it, usually it's going to start with the spring games, how that works, the excitement from the fan base, from the fans, from the school, from the students, then going into summer, and then working your way up to the start of the season. There's nothing wrong with being excited about a head coaching change and the excitement that it's going to bring to a program, because like we've seen when we've seen new coaches come in, even though there can be a whole bunch of excitement, but what is going to be the result of the excitement? That's what makes it. But Charles Huff at Southern Miss, there's something very interesting about him coming to this program. Also found out he's just a tad bit younger than me. So I mean, if you're at an age where you can still relate to your players on a level that they trust you, those families trust you to coach your young men, to bring them to another level, to also remind them that they're still human beings. They're not machines. You can have emotions, you can show those emotions, you can have the intensity, and you can still bring that on and off the football field. It's something great to see. And I think Charles Huff and the Southern Mississippi program is gonna be in for something fantastic next season that we need to pay attention to.
And don't be surprised if some of the Marshall players follow him to Southern Miss. It wouldn't surprise me at all. And I think I read a little bit into that in an article. I need to look into that up more often. But I wouldn't be surprised because when a coach has that much of a big impact on a young man, you know, like I said, it is a great time um to be in college football when it comes to transfer portal because you don't know whose lives you're going to impact. And if you're going to somewhere new, you're going with that person along with them. And to a certain extent, I don't mind that because, I mean, hey, if it's for the better, if the person became better because of this human being, then hey, I'm all for it. So I wouldn't be surprised if that were to happen, and I wouldn't underestimate or count out Charles Huff whatsoever. This man is full of confidence, full of um strong attitude and willingness to commit to winning. And I mean, I'm really looking forward to see what he's gonna do with Southern Miss.